And just like that, we were able to escape with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quest items in one run. Because we're able to rush directly the mobs we need, and we're able to rush directly the spawns for items like potions and ales, it just makes it so much quicker for finding quest items. Questing is one of the most important gameplay loops in Dark and Darker. Whether it comes to endgame content like crafting frostlight or weapons like the Centaur of Madness, or it comes to early game content like getting a better squire gear to use, or maybe even just to get better prices from all the merchants. In today's video, we'll be going over each type of quest and the easiest ways to complete them, as well as multiple tools that will help you find where enemies spawn, as well as what items they drop and those items' probability to help you maximize how quickly you can complete these quests. There are 4 main quest lines that we'll be focusing on today. Though the other quest lines are important, these 4 are what offer us the most craftables, as well as upgrade our squire kit even after just doing a couple quests. So let's discuss what each merchant offers. For squire gear, the weaponsmith unlocks stuff like stiletto, spear, bardiche, and double axe, even on the first level of affinity. So really any class benefits from this first layer, especially if you're like a rogue, barbarian, cleric, or druid. Your main items like the spear, the bardiche, stiletto, items that you might be using every run, they're not going to be available to you until you complete this quest. The tailor is also someone that's super important, because even on their first level, they offer you things like the occultist hood, the occultist robe, and the occultist tunic, and things like the padded tunic or the shadow hood for other classes as well. And the leathersmith, just as important, offers things like the marauder outfit, the lightfoot boots, which everybody's going to be running, the leather cap, and the warden outfit, as well as many others. The armor is going to help the least amount of players, in my opinion, because not everybody wears plate. But if you're a fighter or a demon lock or any other class that's wearing plate, then armor is going to be somebody that you're going to want to level up quickly. As far as crafting unlocks, there's only a few crafts available to us this early in the season, that being the copperlight and cobalt sets. To craft copperlight riveted gloves and copperlight lightfoot boots, you complete the leathersmith quests. A much bigger offering is the copperlight straw hat, the copperlight shadow hood, the copperlight tunic, the copperlight outfit, the copperlight attire, and the copperlight pants, which you can unlock from the tailor. The weaponsmith unlocks all of the sterling weapons on the first tier, so that's sterling axe and sterling dagger, and the armorer unlocks a full copperlight set of plate armor. Which quests you do first depends on which classes you main, so what crafts and squire gear you'll need the most. Obviously, everybody benefits from doing weaponsmith just for the squire kit alone, but certain classes like warlock and druid benefit much more severely from copperlight from the leathersmith and tailor than other classes do, and other classes basically rely on the armorer for their pieces. So that'll be the first quests that you want to complete if that is the classes you play. As far as what class I recommend, obviously, just like everybody else, I recommend warlock, especially now that quests carry over between characters, so you can complete all your quests on any character. So if you switch from warlock, it doesn't matter, you don't have to stay warlock the whole time, but warlock is just the easiest, in my opinion, to run quests on. The reason this is because warlock not only heals off of mobs, but it also has hellfire to blow open doors to get to those locations that we need to explore even quicker, but it also has flamewalker to kill mobs and phantomize to escape. So it's basically just a mob melting class that destroys mobs, and a class that can easily get from point A to point B and then escape with phantomize if they need to. The 3 main type of quests we'll be going over today are item quests, where items are requested by the merchant. And we'll talk about where to find what mobs drop these items, as well as their probability, and whether or not you should wear luck based on these items. The second quest type is the exploring the locations type of quests. And these are extremely easy, except on crypts, which is now randomized, but we'll describe a few tips for that, as well as a super powerful website that will help you find locations on maps that aren't randomized like crypts. And lastly, we'll be talking about the mob killing quest, and a tool you can use to find where each type of mob spawns. Exploring the location. This is honestly one of the easiest quest types, and I'll show you right now why it's so easy. We're gonna go ahead and spawn into Forgotten Castle, and I'm gonna open up the Dark and Darker interactive map. The Dark and Darker interactive map not only shows you each location on the map by name so that you can easily find them, it also shows you the spawn of each enemy. And that will help us a lot in a minute here when we go over the quests where we need to kill specific enemies. So the reason we pick Warlock, right? If we open up M, we can see our location here. And if we check the interactive map, we know we are right next to Bandit Camp. So all we need to do is head to Bandit Camp and escape, and we've completed the quest. If you didn't know, you can press L to open up your quest while you're in game, and you can even check if you've completed them or not. It's always nice to see if there's other locations that are also on ruins that you haven't been to yet, just in case, to go ahead and get a few done at once. I have my audio off right now, so I'm not going to be able to hear anything, but the reason that we pick Warlock is because you're able to use Hellfire to blow open any door, and any damage you take, you can just heal off of these mobs, so you don't have to worry about damage as much. Now that we've explored Bandit Camp, all we have to do is rush all the way to the east side of the map and head out the nearest stairs, and we'll be good to go. Well, like I said, the awesome part about Warlock is you can just go ahead and run your way right out. You don't have to worry about mobs. You just heal off the mobs, blow open the doors if you need to, and you're good to go. And just like that, we explored the location in under 60 seconds. Not a big deal. You're able to just head in, find the location, and head right out without any issues. And obviously this will be a lot more difficult on crypts, but because we're Warlock, we'll be able to clear mobs extremely easily, and we'll still be able to find our way around the map by blowing doors open and just rushing. The next type of quest I wanted to talk about is the killing quest. This quest right here, Kill Ice Harpy. So as we begin to load in, we're going to go ahead and load up the Ruins interactive map and click into the Ice Cavern. We're going to click deselect all to deselect all the enemy types and just select Ice Harpy because that's what we're looking to kill. Then if we check our spawn spot, we spawn on the dual caverns. And let's look at the nearest Ice Harpy spawn. The nearest is Guard Post. And we also know that we have a couple other types of enemies to kill. So let's see, we need to kill a Frostwalker and a Ice Kobold Archer. So we can go ahead and take a look at where they're at as well. Frostwalker, boom, Ice Kobold Archer. Okay, so we have Ice Kobold Archers in our room. So we'll go ahead and kill one of them before we head to the Ice Harpy, and then we'll head right there. This is the reason that I like the Warlock the most. I can go ahead and curse somebody, hit my Flame Walk, and just come over here and Phantomize. And you can just basically stand directly on them, and you can let them attack each other, like so, as well as Flame Walking them. And it's basically just an instant death. You want to make sure to get the finishing kill, or it will... Alright, well, that's embarrassing. I don't have audio on, so I don't know what the fuck's happening. I tried filming this portion without headphones for aesthetic purposes, but I kept dying to mobs over and over again. But the great thing about the quest, like the killing quest, is even if you die, it completes the quest as well. So we might not have been able to go get the other Ice Harpy, but we were able to finish that quest. So if you're somebody who really wants to get the quest done quickly, you can just rush the enemy and let them kill you after you kill them just to get out of the dungeon quicker. That's not what I intended to do. I just had no headphones on, so I literally couldn't hear the mobs around me. That's my bad. But with that being said, the next type of quest is the item retrieval quest. So I already have some of these items, but I do not have an ale. So let's go ahead and head to the Dark and Darker wiki and look at what drops ale. If you just Google ale Dark and Darker wiki, it'll pull up this page on the Dark and Darker wiki. So if you see here, ale drops as something called loose loot, 40% rate at both Goblin Caves, Ice Cavern, and Ruins. And you can also find it at a 2.8% chance inside of these containers. But the easiest chance is to find it as loose loot. Now, what is loose loot? Loose loot is stuff like items, potions, large scroll that just spawn in the open world. And if you are on the interactive map, you can just turn on item and potion. I'm not sure if ale counts as a potion or an item. I believe it does count as a potion because it's a potion chugger. So we can go ahead and just leave it on potion. But say it's something that's not loose loot, right? Let's take a look at intact skulls and rusty broken swords. So we'll do the same thing. We're gonna type in intact skull Dark and Darker wiki. And you can also just search it directly on the wiki as well, but this is just as easy. So we hop into here, and as you can see, there's a 15% chance for it to drop off of all of these different types of monsters. And what I had mentioned earlier is you want to be careful whether or not you wear luck, depending on what items you're trying to farm. So if you're looking for an intact skull, to find out whether or not we should use luck, you can click into a monster like the Frost Skeleton Archer, go down to the loot table, and click the quest table. And in that quest, you will see intact skull. The intact skull has a 15% chance of spawning. But as your luck goes up, that chance actually goes down because it's not a rare item. So if you're looking for a rare item, let's say Volcanic Ash or even Golden Teeth, your chance of fighting Golden Teeth goes up dramatically with the amount of luck you have. But your chance of finding intact skulls does not go up at all, and in fact goes down the higher that your luck goes up. And knowing that it spawns on Frost Skeleton Archers, as well as various Skeleton Archers and Axemen, all we need to do is head into a map, let's say ruins, and look at the spawns for skeleton axemen and skeleton archers. As you can see, there's plenty. So if we just don't wear luck and run our way through multiple of these modules, we should easily get the item that we're looking for. So let's go ahead and give it a try. And once again, this is the reason that I love Warlock. You don't need to actually fight them. You can just let them fight each other, especially if the quest is just for quest items and not to kill them. Then you're able to completely ignore them and just let them kill each other. And when it comes to someone like the Golem, if you're not farming the Golem and you don't want to take the time to kill him, you can just trap him in this room here and continue on your merry way. Leave him to deal with all that on his own. There's a broken skull, which is another quest item that we needed. Luckily also dropped by skeletons. And that's another tip too. If you can find multiple items that drop on the same monster, that just makes it much easier for you to farm those items. And like I said before, you can just use Flamewalker to stand on top of the enemies and let them hit each other with your Phantom Eyes. And as long as you don't need to actually kill them yourself for the quest, it is completely fine for questing. Now you might get pushed during your combat, at which case you just need to do your best to show them how it's done. Just like that. And then you can continue on your merry way and get your quest items. Obviously you can also run, but more than likely they're just a noob if you're in under 25s questing, and it's not really a big deal. As you can see, I'm kind of horrible myself, and I still made it out. Certain items, like both these skulls, these potions, and campfire kits, you're basically going to find everywhere, so you don't need to farm them. But I can give you guys a quick example. Let's say you also wanted to look for potions at the same time. You would just go in here, turn on potions, and we can see a bunch of potion spawn spots. So we're in Barbican, right? So let's look at Barbican here. We got some potions just to our right. So we'll go ahead and head west and see if we can find those potions. Take a look at Great Hall. We will see there's only one potion spawn location here, but let's take a look at what potion it is. It is an invisibility potion. So there is one of the 3 potions that we need. And rather than having to deal with randomly searching the entire map, all we have to do is look at our interactive map. We can see where the potions are at. Let's take a quick break in here. We can see that there's one in our right to the castle armory. So let's go ahead and check that one out as well. And if we pass any of these skeletons, like so, just remember that we still need them for our other quest. So we can do as always and just flame walk, phantomize them. There is the potion we're looking for. That's one of the 2. And let's see if we can't also get a skull off this guy. Golden Tooth, there's one of the 4 items we were looking for. Like I said, if you can find items that drop off the same mobs, it makes it much, much easier to quest. And there's a reason I haven't done this quest yet. It is on purpose, so I could show you guys this exact method. And as you see, in one game, we already found the Grave Essence, the Golden Tooth, and the Broken Skull that we needed, as well as 2 of the potions. And if we take a look here, we can see there is one more potion in Graveyard. And if we're lucky and that's a potion of protection, then we completed that entire quest easy peasy. Let's take a look and see if we got our intact skull yet. Enchanted Dark Fabric, there's another quest item. Boom. So we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quest items so far, 6. And we can just find that potion of protection, then we'll have 2 different quests complete. So let's take a look here. 2 more potions in these stables below us, so let's go ahead and head in there. And if we don't collect all these in one run, that's completely fine. This is just to show you how easy it can be to collect them when you know what monsters to look for and you know where they spawn, as well as knowing the spawn of each potion. Let's see if this last potion spawn is a protection pot. And if it is, that means we found them all in one run. It's a bandage, not what we're looking for. Though that is another quest, so it is nice to always check. And is that a protection pot? That is invisibility. Okay, so neither of them are here. Let's close the mobs out like we always do. And then take a look. So we're going to head down to Bathhouse because that has multiple options for a potion. And we'll see if we can't get that potion of protection and complete almost both of these quests in one run. We have 2 more spots to check in the next 4 minutes. And hopefully we can get a potion of protection. Here is a ancient scroll, which we need for a quest as well. And we didn't even have to look it up. And remember, if we wanted to, we could just kill these guys and try to get that intact skull. There's a 10% chance that any of these guys right here drop an intact skull. Let's check these last 2 potion spawns and we'll get out of here. Oh, there's potion of invisibility. Thought there was one that spawned up here. Maybe it's just a chance. That's annoying. Leave me alone, haters. And just like that, we were able to escape with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quest items in one run. Because we're able to rush directly the mobs we need, and we're able to rush directly the spawns for items like potions and ales. It just makes it so much quicker for finding quest items. And it shouldn't take you more than an hour or two to grind through and find them. And like I said, a lot of these items, for instance, the gold water pot, we missed. There's a couple on the ground I could have easily grabbed. A lot of the other items, rotten fluids, we could find where those spawn from and how often they drop. And if we find out, let's say it's under 10%, let's take a quick look here. See, it's 10%, right? You see something like 10%. So we'll go to the zombie drop table and we'll take a look at the probabilities, 10%. And if our luck goes up, we can get it all the way to almost 30% chance. So 1 in 3 or so, more like 1 in 4, will drop a rotten fluid. So if you're looking for specific items like rotten fluids, that's when you want to increase your luck. But it's better to keep your luck low for all the greens and white in one run, and then up your luck for all the blues in one run. So let's say you had multiple blues, like the blue dog eye and the blue rotten fluids. That's when you would want to increase your luck because it would increase the drops of all the rare items. But make sure you're not also looking for uncommon or common items. Otherwise, you'll find way less of those. Along the same line as these interact quests, like interact with Shrine of Health. Looking back at the interactive map of Ruins, we easily could have selected the ability to find health shrines, like so, and then just visited one of these 3 locations while we were questing and completed that. But we didn't have the quest unlocked at the time, so we didn't know. But if we would have had that quest unlocked, whether it was interacting with a Shrine of Health or a Shrine of Protection, we can always just turn on the interactive map and see where they're at, and then check where we spawned and just rush those locations. One other thing I wanted to mention, if you are doing something like turning in rare items, you need to be careful because sometimes it will select your more valuable rare items that you didn't realize before you even realized it. It doesn't necessarily select the first order, so you need to check what items you are offering up, or even better, just make sure you only have blue items that you want to get rid of in your inventory. Otherwise, it will take away the items you did not want it to take from you. One other thing I wanted to mention is if you are doing something like killing a ice harpy and you're with a duo or a trio, as long as you're within the same module as your partner and they kill the ice harpy, you get the kill for yourself. So assists count as kills when it comes to quests. And this isn't the same for interactions. Like your friend interacting with a Shrine of Health does not mean that you interacted with the Shrine of Health. And obviously it is not the same for items, but it is the same for kills. The biggest tip I can give you if you're trying to find locations on crypts that are hidden is to play Warlock, bring plenty of heals, and just blow every single door you see, run through it, and if you ever get trapped, phantomize. That way, you can get across almost the entirety of a map in a single run, and even better, play with a duo where you're both Warlocks, split apart, check out the entire map, and if one of you find the location, you can just meet and both explore that location together. As we get further into the season, more and more unlocks are going to become available, and it's going to become more apparent which quests you need to do in which order. You can always go look at the Dark and Darker wiki to check out what ones that you will need. Most classes will end up needing both of the quest lines complete. For instance, a rogue will really like a dread hood, but a rogue might also really like something like cobalt trousers for the armor pen, or even something like a golden scarf. So both quest lines will end up severely helping most classes, but leathersmith, tailor, weaponsmith, and armor are going to be your most important for. And as long as you remember the 2 tools I showed you, the interactive map as well as the Dark and Darker wiki, you'll be able to find out where the enemies spawn, you'll be able to find out what the drop rate is for the items you're using, and that'll give you the fastest and easiest runs for completing all these quests. If you'd like more specific tutorials in the future, like how to kill specific monsters like the Wendigo and farm them for their quest items, I'd be more than happy to do that and help with some of the more specific tricky quests. But other than that, I hope this quick breakdown helped you with your questing. Thank you for watching, so much love, and peace.